Hi guys, I'm Tom, and today we'll dive into what the Lunamorphs are. One of the most interesting and terrifying found footage films of the past decade is Apollo 18. It tells the story of a pair of astronauts who land on the moon and gradually discover they are not entirely alone. On the lunar surface, they encounter parasitic alien creatures that are grotesque and extremely dangerous. These creatures can infect humans and essentially consume them from the inside out. It is because of the mystery surrounding these spider-like monsters, the fascinating mythology presented in the movie, the grotesque manner in which they infect humans, and the fact that the film made many people believe it was real, that Apollo 18 and its monsters have earned a place among fans of modern science fiction and horror cinema. That's why, in this video, I'll explain in detail the physical appearance and characteristics of the infamous creatures from Apollo 18. Then I'll delve into the movie's production and how these incredible creatures were brought to life. The alien creatures, which resemble arthropods, are a deadly species native to the moon. They serve as the primary antagonists in the 2011 movie Apollo 18. When these creatures are at rest, they look exactly like lunar rocks, which initially keeps them hidden. These creatures possess a potent venom that induces psychosis and violent aggression in humans. Additionally, they have a highly resistant shell, similar to that of crabs, which allows them to camouflage as harmless rocks. When these beings move, they use 6 legs similar to those of a spider. They also have 2 pincers that can extend from their shell or carapace. The size of these creatures varies. They can be as small as rocks that fit in the palm of your hand or grow larger, capable of consuming a full-grown human with ease. This camouflage is particularly intriguing, as the movie strongly implies it is used both as a hunting mechanism and as a way to hide from larger predators. The most interesting and mysterious aspect is that there appear to be no other life forms on the moon or life as we know it on any other planet in the solar system. This could indicate that these creatures did not originate on the moon. Additionally, fans have theorized that other species of living organisms might exist on the moon that were not shown or discovered by the Apollo 18 crew. These arthropod-like creatures had an incredibly potent venom, which they injected by biting their prey. Some symptoms of the venom include darkening veins around the bite area, necrosis of the affected tissue, extremely bloodshot eyes, and ocular bleeding, as well as antisocial behavior. Ultimately, the victim suffers from violent psychosis. While the exact potency of the venom is not detailed, it is suggested to be fatal. During the film, only 2 victims are shown. One died when their spacesuit helmet was breached, and the other was directly killed by the creatures. That's why we cannot be 100% certain about the lethality of this substance. The violent behavior induced by the venom is theorized to be due to a neurotoxin that causes severe brain damage. There is also a theory that this substance gradually affects vital organs after prolonged exposure, based on the various adverse effects and symptoms observed following a bite. Considering the extraterrestrial qualities of the creature's biology, we can conclude that their venom not only contains neurotoxins, but also hemotoxins that affect the blood. Both substances act devastatingly on the human body, reinforcing the theory that this venom is fatal. Amputating the affected limb after being bitten by these creatures could slightly help the victim. However, according to the director and screenwriter's commentary, this merely slows down the venom's progression through the human body. The substance is extremely potent and behaves in a very strange and unique way within the circulatory system, both in humans and other terrestrial organisms. A chilling detail about the symptoms caused by the venom of these alien rocks is that the final stage, violent psychosis, ensures that if the venom doesn't kill the host, their erratic and aggressive behavior will inevitably lead to their own death. This is depicted in the climax and ending of the movie when the American astronaut affected by the venom goes mad and, in a way, causes the death of his companion on the moon. These creatures appear to enter a state of rest during the day, remaining immobile. Because of this, It's believed that they obtain energy through photosynthesis, similar to terrestrial plants. Considering the lack of other resources on the moon, this is likely how they manage to survive for long periods. Some fans have theorized that these creatures also remain dormant during the day to avoid DNA damage caused by intense ultraviolet light from the sun, as the moon lacks a magnetosphere to shield its surface from harmful rays. An interesting aspect of these beings is that they don't move at all when picked up and transported, allowing them to pass unnoticed as simple lunar rocks. This is the main reason why some of these creatures were brought aboard the spacecraft as lunar rock samples. These creatures didn't reveal their true form until much later, when the sun no longer illuminated a part of the moon and they became active. During the cold lunar nights, these creatures seek out warmer places. In this environment, the smaller ones, possibly juveniles, have been observed burrowing into skin, becoming a type of parasite. It's worth noting that this parasitic relationship is extremely crude, implying that these creatures lack experience attacking warm-blooded organisms. The bodies of the Russian astronauts shown in the film were severely dehydrated, suggesting that these creatures feed on the bodily fluids of their victims. This also provides a better explanation for the behavior of the younger creatures, which burrowed into the skin in search of more nourishment and a warm place to mature. Unlike the adults, it's likely that the mothers of these creatures carry their young beneath their shells. For this reason, we can conclude that the juveniles mistook the warmth of the human body for that of their mother. This might explain why these beings so brutally entered the human body and made it their home. Generally, these creatures form colonies in the craters of the moon. In these dark locations, they can move freely even during the day. The creatures appear to communicate through some sort of frequency or radio waves they produce, which can interfere with human equipment. It's important to note that these beings cannot communicate using pheromones or roars, as the moon's atmosphere is too thin to support such forms of communication. In the movie, we can hear the radio waves produced by the aliens when the landing module experiences interference with its communication equipment, leaving the crew unable to contact Earth. This also explains why the creatures are hostile toward the radio equipment left by the Apollo 18 crew, as it's likely that the sounds and frequencies of these devices interfere with the alien creatures' communication. As a result, they act violently toward these electronic devices. It's believed that these creatures are not truly intelligent and act purely on instinct, constantly trying to survive and feed. Based on the way they attack humans, it's thought that they might also feed on flesh and bodily fluids, such as blood, in addition to obtaining energy from sunlight through photosynthesis. The design of these monsters, although somewhat simple, works very well in the film, in my opinion. This simplicity adds a touch of realism to the faux documentary. If the creatures had looked like xenomorphs or predators, the movie wouldn't have had the same impact or sense of plausibility it achieved when it premiered in 2011. What makes these beings truly terrifying is the brutality with which they attack humans and their efficiency in hiding, blending in seamlessly as mere rocks. This makes the astronauts completely unaware of the danger surrounding them. And well, that's all we know about the creatures from Apollo 18. Unfortunately, there isn't much information available about these monsters. Personally, I really liked how the movie was initially marketed as if it were a real documentary, explaining why humans never returned to the moon. Many people believed the story, which led a NASA scientist named Bertelrich to clarify that the movie wasn't real and was purely a work of fiction. The film doesn't have a soundtrack, and this was done to make it feel more realistic and authentic. This is also the main reason why it was entirely filmed using old cameras from the 1960s. Unfortunately, the movie received very poor reviews upon its release in 2011, as critics felt that the lunar rocks were an absurd villain and that the film overall lacked a truly terrifying atmosphere. While I wouldn't say Apollo 18 is the best alien horror movie or the best found footage film, I think it's a decent movie with some very tense scenes and a good sense of suspense. The lunar alien creatures were genuinely terrifying, especially when they burrowed into the astronaut's skin. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, I definitely recommend it. It's entertaining and a bit different, although I admit it has its flaws. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you already know about the creatures from Apollo 18 or the lunar aliens? What did you think of them as a concept? Lastly, do you think the design of the creatures adds a touch of realism to the film, or would you have preferred a more elaborate and fantastical design? Share your answers to these questions and your general opinion about the lunar alien creatures from the movie. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and share it to support the channel, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of my new videos.